And let's make a start. So this morning we are talking about dedication pages, and we have got three fantastic guests for you this morning. So we've got Jess joining us from Heart Research UK, Isabel from Mental Health Foundation, and Im from RNLI. And they are going to share their experiences about using dedication pages, and they have used them in a fantastic variety of ways. So I'm very excited. I'm very grateful for them taking that time to put together some presentations and to share their experiences with us this morning. So I've pressed record, so it's available for you to watch back, and you'll be able to share it with your colleagues if you wish. If you've got any questions, there is quite a lot to say, so we're going to be a little bit tight for time. But if you've got any questions, please do pop them in the chat box. If you put them in the chat box, then everybody can see the questions, whereas if you put them in the Q&A, only the panelists can see them. So it's nice for everybody to be able to see what's being asked. And if it is a platform question, Jane, who's joining me, I don't know where she is on your screen, but she's next to me on my screen, is from Much Loved, and she will answer any platform-based questions as we go along, just to try and kind of speed things up a little bit. So I am going to share my presentation. It's not my presentation, I can't do this. And then I guess if everyone just wants to put themselves on mute, and then I'm going to hand over to our first guest, and that is Jess from Heart Research UK.
Thank you, Sally. Morning. Can everybody hear me? We're all good. Lovely. Hello, everybody. I'm Jess, and I work at Heart Research UK. I'm the In-Memory and Legacy Marketing Officer, and I've had the pleasure this year of launching our dedication page through Much Loved, which we call the Forget Me Not Garden. So I'm here to just talk you through that today. Next slide, please, Sally. So I just wanted to firstly have a little look at some of the general motivations for why setting up a dedication page is a really good idea for in-memory fundraisers, and also just our motivations why we decided to do it. In terms of the general ones, I think it's a really great way to utilise your existing partnership with Much Loved. It is really low risk, particularly if you're just doing the templated versions of the dedication pages, and it's a really nice digital in-memory offering to add to your suite of products. It doesn't take up that much staff capacity once it's up and running. And also, I think it's just a really great thing for in-memory fundraisers for your professional development, so seeing a project through from start to finish. And in terms of Heart Research UK, our motivations, I mean, we have, tribute funds, as many of you will have as well, which can be quite heavy duty for a lot of people and not always the appropriate offer. But doing the dedication page is a bit more of a visible way to donate. So it's somewhere in between just donating to the charity of your choice and setting up a tribute fund. We also wanted to have a meaningful way of giving back to the supporter, which I'll kind of talk about in a sec. We also really wanted to make sure we captured lots of opt-ins and increase the size of our database as well as increasing in-memory income. So those are just some of the motivations for us. Next slide. Lovely. So setting up our dedication page, all done on the Much Loved portal. The bottom image there is our Forget Me Not garden. You can see the reason why we've gone with that name is we've got some lovely Forget Me Not flowers in the background. So that's the template we decided to choose, and we decided to make it a permanent page, so one that's open all year round instead of as a specific campaign linked to a time of year like Christmas. So we just created the copy, fiddled around with the page design to make it right, and editing the messaging throughout the form. We then chose the settings for the donations and the alerts. And we decided with every donation that we would send the supporter a little packet of Forget-Me-Not seeds, which we thought was a really nice little bit of stewardship, that once they planted them at home, not only would they remember their loved one, but they would remember us as well. And then we added the link to our existing in-memory web page so that people could access it there. Next slide, please. Yes, so then after that, we before we went live, obviously, we decided to get our creative assets in place as well. So there's the seed packet design for our Forget-Me-Not seeds that we would send out to our supporters. We also created an email signature. And then we just set up some standard social media assets that we could plug. So if you press play, there's a little kind of GIF that shows up saying, "Help grow our Forget-Me-Not garden." Next slide, please. Lovely. So once somebody has made a donation or left a dedication, I should say at this point, when we initially set up the dedication page, we had them as optional donations, but we have since switched to mandatory. So we needed a couple different email types for the kind of dedication or donation, or a dedication only. So once the data gets imported, the supporter then would receive the appropriate stewardship email, and that kind of copy just gives you an idea of the type of thing that we're writing to our supporters and how we're recognising their dedication and their donation. Slide. Oh yes, and on the lastly with the stewardship at this point is to send out the Forget-Me-Not seeds. Unfortunately, we can't do it with people that donate anonymously, as we don't get that data, but we made that clear in the form. But everybody that does tell us who they are and leaves a donation, will send out a lovely letter with the packet of Forget-Me-Not seeds, so they can plant that at home. Lovely. So next slide. So we've got the dedication page all set up, all the back end processes set up, the stewardship all set up. How did we promote it? So the first thing we did a launch email to some of our existing in-memory supporters, inviting them to take part and be the first to leave a dedication on the page, try to make them feel special. And then we also managed to get a feature in our newsletter email that goes out every other month. So that little circle there circles our feature in our Pulse newsletter. So we did both of those to promote to our existing audiences. And then on the next slide, please, Sally, you can see we also then spent a little bit of money on Facebook and doing social media promotion. So alongside the launch email, we also did Facebook ads. We then also promoted around Mother's Day. So we had another Facebook ad then with some copy. And then we decided to do something a little bit different for Father's Day and created this video, which Sally shows me now works. If you would like to press play.
I'm just going to press play, but I can't see anyone, so give me a shout. It doesn't work, okay.
Here are the Forget-Me-Not seeds that have just arrived in the post from Heart Research UK in memory of my amazing dad, who I lost suddenly to a heart attack when I was just 33 years old. Dad was everything to me, and there's not a single day that goes by that I don't wish he was back. But to keep his memory alive and stop more people dying from heart disease, I left a dedication to Dad on Heart Research UK's online Forget-Me-Not garden. With every donation, they'll send you a pack of Forget-Me-Not seeds to plant and enjoy for years to come. It's lovely to know they'll bloom each year and be a lasting memory of my dad. Please join me and leave a dedication by clicking on the caption below or visiting heartresearch.org.uk.
Lovely, thank you, Sally. I'm glad we got that to work, and I think that was a lovely resource that we got together. And thank you to Fran, my colleague, who provided that. So next slide, please. Oh, not again. We don't need to see it again. Great. So then, in terms of results, then I've just got a couple of tables here outlining the existing audiences one and the social ads. So for the existing audiences, it was a small audience that we sent the launch email out to, and the newsletter went to everybody that is emailable. So we did get a few click-throughs, and it did end up in one donation, which is a small sort of return, but that's not to say that if you were to set one up and try this yourself, you would have different results. But if you don't try, you don't know, and the only failure is the failure to try. Then also with the social ads, you can see we didn't spend an awful lot across the socials. It was very much a test and learn thing. This is a new product. We didn't want to overinvest and just sort of gauge the level of investment that we needed to to get a good return. So we did get some really nice impressions across all of these, and you can see lots and lots and lots of engagements, particularly with Mother's Day and Father's Day. And these were mainly sort of comments on the Facebook ads themselves. Tons of link clicks, and then we've got quite a few dedications and donations, and lots of opt-ins there as well for the return. So so we were pleased with those results as well. So next slide, please. So yes, in terms of the overall results to date, so we set the page up in, I think, February, we went live with it. We've now got 82 dedications. We've captured 48 opt-ins, all new supporters, which is really nice. We've had 43 donations and over £1,000 raised so far. And I'm excited to be promoting it this Christmas as well to take that up a notch. I've included some of my favourite dedications there that are on the page. So that just gives you an idea of the kind of content that you get from people. And, you know, talk about great case studies as well. These are fantastic to be able to reach out to people and say, would you mind if we use this? And then it kind of feeds into the next promotional period as well. I did a little bit of analysis on donations versus no donations and opt-ins versus opt-outs. So as you can see, we do have a few more donations than no donations, but the ratio between people that donate and don't donate in how they opt in is about the same. But it's just sort of bearing in mind you will have that little section of people that neither donate nor opt in, so you can't really do anything with them. So it's just bearing that in mind if you're going for the optional donation model. Next slide, please. And then I think I'm nearly done. So things that we've learned, really. Obviously doing lots of testing, and it's a new product. We've learned an awful lot along the way. So we've A/B tested targeting men and women with the social ads and found that only women left a dedication, which is interesting. So that's fed into our next promotional periods of only targeting women. People can tend to leave a dedication in the comments on Facebook posts rather than actually clicking on the link and doing the thing we're asking them to do, which is leave a dedication on the page. So it's just sort of being aware that there's that engagement as well. It can feed into your KPIs, and maybe having a social media presence person signposting them back to the page. Think about your navigation menu selection. So in the top right hand corner of your dedication page, you can send them to other places on your website. So just have a play around with what the most appropriate ones are going to be for you. And as I said just before, just be warned that if you do choose to have optional donations, some people neither donate nor do they opt in. So it's just sort of managing expectations on that front. And last slide for me, please, Sally. So in terms of top tips, you know, if I were to do it again, what would I kind of go in with? Is just sort of think about your objectives for setting up a dedication page, because this is going to impact all of the decisions that you make. So is it for supporter acquisition? Or is it purely income driven? Do you want it to be an all year round or a one-off dedication page? Also, before going live, try and get a few dedications on there, because nobody likes to be the first. It was a bit not disheartening, but at the very start when we launched it, it took a while to get going. So it's nice to get a few dedications on there, just to kind of get that started. Test on as much as you can on your back end processes, especially in the fulfillment aspect to your donor journeys, like the seeds that we send out. We had to test that was all running smoothly, so we didn't end up with a backlog and upsetting people if they don't get their seeds. And obviously on your paid promotion, just see what works for you with your specific audiences. And lastly, just be patient, because it can be a bit of a slow burn and take a while to get going. So just manage people's expectations and just keep going. It's a really lovely product, and I've really enjoyed implementing it. So thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jess. What fantastic stewardship sending out people's seeds. And I know I've got forget-me-nots in my garden, and it's always a pleasure to see them popping up in the spring. I love the video what a great colleague to be prepared to create a little video like that for you. And I would reiterate the need to put a couple of dedications on your pages before you launch them. Maybe it's an opportunity to ask colleagues to get involved. I think, like Jess said, nobody wants to be the first, but also if you can put ones on with photos, ones without, then people can see exactly what they can do when they get to the dedication page. But that's brilliant. Thank you very much. And as I said, we'll answer questions at the end. But for now, I'm going to hand over to our next guest, which is Isabel. I'm just going to get control of my mouse and go on to the next slide.
Hello, everyone. I am Isabel. I work for the Mental Health Foundation in the individual giving team. And just...
Sorry, technical issue. There we go. Over to you.
Cool. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I'm Isabel. I'm in the individual giving team at the Mental Health Foundation, also looking after our in-memory giving income stream. So yeah, if you just move me along, Sally. And I'll just talk through our process of setting up our memory wall. And just to give a bit of context about in-memory giving at the foundation, prior to April, May of this year, when we did set up our first memory wall and our tribute fund options, previously we were relying very heavily on just organic in-memory income, just a few donations here and there from the website and a few checks coming in organically as well. However, we had some growth in that area, so it's been identified by our higher-ups as a key avenue for us over the next few years. And we did have things like Just Giving for tribute funds. We did also have already the relationship with Much Loved and the sort of free options with tribute funds as well. However, we knew we were sort of missing a trick in a lot of ways, that we had very little in the way of stewardship and little opportunity to engage with supporters, which we thought was a real shame, because we are missing a way of communicating with people with real lived experience of mental ill health amongst their friends and families. So the key question for us was, how can we increase engagement in a really empathetic and genuine way? And how also, of course, can we develop a new audience with opt-ins, a nice warm audience who are genuinely interested to receive our communications and what we're up to as a charity. So what we did, Sally, if you could pop me along. We decided to set up a memory wall. We've been having conversations with Much Loved and already decided that we were going to develop our offering via Much Loved. And then we just needed a sort of moment to launch the product. And what we decided to do was launch our new in-memory giving option in conjunction with Mental Health Awareness Week earlier this year. We are the hosts of Mental Health Awareness Week. We set the theme, and it is by far our most busy, visible week in the year. So what we wanted to do was think, how can we use this week of reflection to ask people to reflect about people they have lost and think about mental health and support a cause that's really, really close to their heart. And as Jess said, I think it's really important with these projects is to think really clearly about the aim you have in mind for your wall and your page. We decided the most important thing was creating meaningful engagement amongst supporters and creating new supporters and a new audience. Of course, there's always the secondary aim of generating income, which is never far from anyone's mind, but we decided for this, considering the nature of the campaign, the delicate topic, and the fact that this was a very new thing for us, that income would be a very much a secondary aim in this context. So what we decided to do, after toing and throwing about maybe doing a campaign around tribute funds, we actually opted to go for a wall because it's just a much easier ask for people. Tribute funds obviously are an amazing thing for people to do, but it very much depends where you are in your sort of journey with grief. Whereas a memory wall or a page is a much, much easier ask and is much more appropriate for people no matter where they are with that. So what we did is we used paid digital ads that we created with the help of our digital marketing agency. And we ran the ads from a few days before the week started to around a week after it ended, with the call to action basically being to speak your loved one's name, share their story, and make sure they're never forgotten. And yeah, if you could move me. And these are the ads, so nothing too complicated. This is sort of a selection of the graphics and images we use, also of the copy. Celebrate a loved one, share a photo of a memory, grief divided is made lighter. This was kind of the messaging we were going for. Not super hard asks. We didn't mention donations. We had donations as optional for our memory wall, although that is something that I think we will test and play around with in future as well. And we got some great learnings as well from these digital ads and all the sort of tracking and insight that our agency were able to give us. For example, we found out that our ads here with the graphics were more successful for us than the ones with the images, which kind of flew in the face of everything we thought would be true about digital advertising. I have suspicions that maybe our stock photo ads were a bit too stock photo, and that's maybe what happened there. But anyway, great insights. And then, yeah, if you could move me along, Sally, I can talk through how we actually got on. So the results. So yeah, we had our ads running for only 2 weeks, and we received 1,250 donations. We also received, and we were very pleased with this because we really weren't expecting very much at all, but we received £1,200 in donations. And we also had at least tribute funds that I can directly pinpoint to being people who received our stewardship emails following on from leaving a message, which did encourage people to set up tribute funds, and nearly £5,000. We also received really lovely email feedback, which was really, really nice. Mainly people just saying that they were really grateful to be able to share their loved one's story, which was really nice to see. And then, of course, the all-important opt-ins, 785 new email opt-ins. And this is our first proper in-memory audience to develop. And we're really excited to see where we can take this audience. Okay, yeah, thank you, Sally. Next slide. And then how we sort of followed up what we did following on from that 2 weeks. We set up our first proper bit of in-memory stewardship just to start with, just a brief 3 email stewardship journey, which basically consisted of a thank you, which you can see on the right of the screen there, or the left view. And then followed by a tribute fund ask, and then an events cross-sell as well. And we were really pleased to see that this audience that we managed to develop via Much Loved is a really engaged, really receptive audience. We saw 52% open rates and 7% click-through, only 0.4% unsubscribe, which we're really pleased about. So then our thoughts are sort of turning to next steps. We're a very small team. It's me. So I haven't been able to do as much as I would have liked to have done over the last few months with our audience. However, my sort of goal is for a really solid multi-channel stewardship plan. I'd like to bring in some of the things that that Jess talked about. I love the seeds. All these things are things that I want to sort of develop in future. We will also definitely be using our memory wall again. We went for this sort of bespoke memory wall, and at first it did have the Mental Health Awareness Week 2023 branding and messaging on it. We've sort of changed that to just be a sort of evergreen wall now for the moment, but I also have plans for Christmas, Mother's and Father's Day, and then of course Mental Health Awareness Week 2024 as well. And then the other thing, I haven't actually put it on here because I forgot, but we've actually just launched another social media campaign around our in-memory giving. We've launched a PPC pay-per-click campaign to bolster our tribute funds, memory wall, and just sort of general web-based in-memory giving on the website, which is only just launched sort of a week ago. So I don't really have any learnings for you yet on that, but that's just another option that we'll be testing, and hopefully will bring us lots of activity. Yeah, so I think that's about it. I think that's everything. So thanks very much. Hope that was helpful.
Brilliant. Thank you very much as well. I thought the graphics were fantastic. I know what you mean about stock images. I've seen a few that we use hanging around too, and maybe does have a little bit of an impact. it does sound like you spent quite a lot on social, but actually when you break it down, it's I guess it's about £6 per acquisition, which is incredible, really.
Mhm.
And yeah, so fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing. I'm going to now hand over to our last speaker, which is Imogen from RNLI.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Is it all good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. So I'm Imogen. I'm a marketing executive in the Legacy and In Memory team at the RNLI, and I'll be talking you through some top tips and what has worked well for us for our dedication pages, and how important the dedication pages are in acquiring case studies to help us promote our In Memory campaigns. Sally, if you can move me on. 5,674. So this is the number of dedications that we have across our 9 dedication pages. We started our first dedication page in 2019, and we have 2 brand new pages this year. Next slide, please, Sally. So out of the 9, 6 of these are our Launch in Memory dedication pages, with over 5,000 dedications across these pages. For those of you who don't know, Launch in Memory is our flagship In Memory product, which is an opportunity for people to remember and celebrate their loved ones by adding a name to the letters and numbers on a Shannon class lifeboat. And for each Launch in Memory lifeboat, we set up a dedication page, and these pages are always open. Next slide, please, Sally. So we have some key objectives for our dedication pages, which ultimately are focused on giving the supporter the opportunity to have a safe space to remember their loved ones, and a community to talk about and remember their loved ones, which we hope in turn allows them to see and make their own connections to the RNLI In Memory journey. Of course, we hope to see an uplift in memory donations and tribute fund donations with our dedication page activity. And of course, the dedication pages gives us an opportunity to replenish the legacy pipeline, which is very important. Next page, please. So all of our dedication pages are bespoke. That is, we use our brand colours and imagery for a consistent look and feel. And I work with Sally to set these up, and it's a very quick and easy process to do so. As I've mentioned, our Launch in Memory pages are always open, and we do not ask for a donation for these pages. So within the settings, there are 3 choices: no donation, optional donation, and mandatory donation. And because our supporters have already donated as part of the journey, and they often give more than the suggested donation of £50, the dedication page sits as an additional benefit to the journey, not as an ask. There are many benefits to the Launch Memory campaign, such as supporters receiving a certificate, access to a retail range, regular update emails, and the dedication page sits within this. As over 50% of Launch in Memory donors are new supporters, it's really important to raise awareness of our dedication pages. So how do we do this? Next page, please, Sally. So we first mentioned the dedication page on our Launch in Memory landing page in the process map section. Some of you might notice that it's not hyperlinked at this point, that we do this on purpose. We don't want supporters to leave a dedication believing that their name is on the lifeboat. So once they've made the donation, they receive a confirmation email with the hyperlink in. We also have updates pages specific to each lifeboat. And we have a module inviting supporters to leave heartwarming stories about their loved ones on there too. And we also mention it in our update emails. So for our Launch in Memory journey, we send around 8 emails on this, and that's updates on lifeboat build, rescues, case studies, and we have a section about our dedication pages in these too. And at the close of the campaign, we have a really lovely and special event where we invite supporters to see the lifeboat before it heads to its new home to save lives. And we create an event booklet, which is given to all attendees with a section about leaving a dedication if they haven't already as part of that. Next slide, please, Sally. Our Launch in Memory dedication pages serve as amazing case study opportunities for us to reach out where appropriate for powerful and authentic case studies to use for in-memory material. And one recent great example is a dedication that I read on our Whitby Launch and Memory dedication page about Pop, Jack and Jock, who were together on HMS Medway when it was torpedoed and sank on the 20th of June 1942. Pop survived and lost his two friends on this day and always spoke about them. So Pop's son decided to add all of their names to Whitby lifeboats. And after seeing this dedication, I reached out to him to ask if he would be interested to be a case study for us, and he agreed. This story was then chosen for our 200 Voices podcast. So next year, RNLI celebrates 2 centuries of life-saving, and they are currently releasing 200 podcasts with true stories of how lives have been touched by our charity. And this In Memory story will air on November the 1st. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for it, because it is a really lovely story. And on the screen is a direct quote from him. So a little bit of a spoiler there, but it's just so lovely that he says that after donating and adding the dedication, the whole family had a feeling of completeness about the whole thing. My dad would be over the moon to learn that the 3 of them were reunited and riding the waves once again. The crew being able to save people would have meant the world to him. So without our dedication pages, we would not be able to read these amazing and powerful stories and be able to share these stories, not just within In Memory, but across the whole of the organisation too. We also have 3 dedication pages which are seasonality specific, which I'll talk about now. And for these, we have optional donation turned on for them. So for Father's Day this year, we went out on paid social for 2 weeks within emails across the organisation, so with retail and in our newsletter, which is called RNLI Life. And we also went out on organic social and had internal posts to raise internal awareness, inviting staff to remember their loved ones too. And this was the first year doing this sort of level of activity, and so we now have benchmarks and learnings to grow from and share. Next page, please, Sally. Thank you. Lovely. So we received 291 dedications overall with 127 donations. Our paid social ads performed well with 181 conversions with a good CVR. And we found that the photographs of the lifeboats and the family were our top performers creatively on paid social. And in terms of copy, the very clear winner is on the screen there, and it referred to both celebration and remembrance. And 134 out of the 181 conversions were through that copy. So it was the clear winner by miles. And in terms of stewardship, so next steps on this journey, if you could just move me on. Thanks, Sally. For those who have donated, they receive a thank you acknowledgement and are then added to our CRM, where they will receive our Sunflower Delighter mailing, which is sent to all In Memory donors from the last 12 months in April. This is not automatically triggered, so I've just made an example that if they donate in May, for example, they will receive the Sunflower mailing the following year in April. So our top tips would be make bespoke pages if you can to run in line with brand guidelines and have consistency for your supporters. Get the message out there through different methods such as newsletters, organic social, leaflets, etc. And don't forget to raise internal awareness too. Testing is key. Test different creative, copy, content to see what your audience resonate with. Use stories for powerful and authentic case studies. Reach out and build relationships with your supporters to help spread your message. And test. I say this twice because it is so important to know your audience well. In the future, I'm looking forward to testing on PPC, so I'll be sure to hit you up, Isabel, to hear your results. And test different creative too. And I'm hoping to, as well, to change the settings on our seasonal pages to mandatory donation to see if that has an effect on overall donations as well. So to conclude, our dedication pages are a key component in our supporter journeys and provides our supporters with a space to share their loved ones' stories that are so powerful. We have 5,674 and counting heartwarming stories, inside jokes, memories of favourite places, celebrations, messages of love, and how privileged we are to be a part of our supporters' journey in remembering their loved one through our dedication pages. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. I'm slightly overwhelmed by how much information all 3 of you have so generously shared with our audience today. It's time to have a look at some questions. I'm rather hoping that Jane has selected a few to
Yeah, I was furiously doing it just then. So Tracy has asked about, well, she said, you know, a lot of people do Christmas pages. Can you do non-religious pages? You know, the beauty of dedication pages is you can do so much with them. It's really up to you. So you can choose a template page or you can have a bespoke page. You can set it up to do what you wanted to do. But ultimately, it's a fantastic way to bring all your community together and give them somewhere where they can come to be together. A question that was asked, which probably could go to any of you three that feel you are happy to answer it. Do the thank you comms differ depending on the amount that the supporters donate?
I mean, somewhat for us. Everybody gets the standard thank you, but we have a shiny new database which can send me a task if somebody's donated more than a certain amount, and I will reach out personally. But if there's a really good dedication on there that I'm thinking could be a case study and they're opted in, normally I'll reach out and do an additional thank you in that case as well. So that's just an additional personal layer that we have on top of the standard communications.
Also, somebody asked, do you reuse pages or do you set up new ones for new campaigns?
So we reuse our seasonal pages, but we set up a new dedication page for our launch of memory. So that's why we have 6 of those, because we have 6 lifeboats now, which yeah. So we'll keep going for those. But yeah, our seasonal ones we reuse each year.
Okay. And the only other question really was, is there a maximum number of dedications? But no, there's not a maximum number of dedications. And as everyone has said, it's always good to add some content when you first set up the page. It shows people what they can do with the page, what they can add to the page. And as Jess says, no one wants to be first. So it's a really good idea to add something. Perhaps get your colleagues to add something to the pages. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I think that all you 3 guys shared so much information. There wasn't that many questions. So
there's another one here. What's the time scale of sending the 3 emails? I wasn't sure who that.
So for ours, we did the sort of first thank you within a day, and then we did the tribute fund ask after about a week, and then we did the event cross-sell about another sort of 2 weeks after that. It was quite a light touch one because, again, it's a really easy conversion. So it was a fairly light touch one just to keep them sort of warm and ready for more comms down the line.
And Jodie is asking, how long do the dedication pages last for? They can sit there for as long as you want. It's completely up to you. You can have them just for the period of your campaign, or you can leave it running year round. It's completely up to you.
Okay. I wanted to pick up something that Mandy asked. So is a dedication page good to ask for donations or not? I think you've seen some different ways that charity partners use the dedication pages. I think where you are asking for donations, I'm getting the message that it might be worth just making it a mandatory donation rather than making it optional. There's lots of heads nodding. Yeah, or you can turn them off completely if your purpose of the page isn't to raise income, which is how RNLI use their pages for it's an additional support to their Launch a Memory campaign.
And Sue has asked, is there a charge for the Much Loved template pages? No, there's no charge for the template pages. They're available to both Advantage and Optimum partners. If you want a bespoke page, they are £130 plus VAT.
Another question about the maximum number of dedications a memory wall can take. There isn't a maximum number, and once they move off the first page, they just scroll onto the second page. Does the first contribution get lost? Well, I think no, because actually there's a search facility on them, so people can always search for their particular dedication.
Katie's asking, do Do you all use the templates or pay for the bespoke? Well, Jess definitely used a template. Isabel, a bespoke. Im, generally bespoke.
All of them are bespoke, yeah.
Denise asked the question for Im. Can I ask if the sunflower appeal is dedicated in memory of?
So it's a stewardship element to all in memory donors. So yeah, it has the personalised in memory function.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm sure you've just read the same one as me, Sally, so I'll let you answer it.
Well, I'm not sure how long do dedication pages last for? As long as you would like them to stay live for. You've got the option to make them read only. You can turn them off, but I don't really recommend it because it does pop up with a not particularly great 404 message if you completely disable them. But you can make them read only so people can't contribute to them, but they can still see the dedication pages that have been left. And as far as keeping them on your website, that's totally up to you, as long as you like.
And Jonathan's asking, will Much Love be introducing new templates? Yes, we do introduce new templates regularly. So it's always worth having a look at what is there. And of course, you also have the option of a bespoke page if you want something more in line with your own brand guidelines.
Brilliant. Is there one more question? I'm amazed that we've kept to time, but let's see if we can fit in one more question.
Someone did ask, how do you encourage tribute funds with regard to your dedication pages? You can add navigation links, which sit in the top right-hand corner. So you could perhaps pop something and they like create a tribute page, just showing people that they've got the option to do so. So that is available to you as well. Oh.
Brilliant, great. So thank you so much to our fantastic guests. We certainly couldn't have done it without you. It's really valuable. We love it when our charity partners are willing to share their experience and best practice with other partners, as I'm sure you've all taken a huge amount from today's session. As I said at the beginning, it is recorded. So if you want to share it with any colleagues, you will be able to. It will be on the charity support site for you to access within a couple of days. It takes us a couple of days to get it loaded. But you can watch it back from there. But yeah, other than that, thanks again to Jess, Im and Isabel, and have a marvellous day. Thank you very much.